Do you get frustrated the way the kids train now? I'm not saying we
Yes.
train harder, but I think we train
You know
harder.
what? It's. I see this, especially at my gym. Okay, so welcome to episode 6 of the Phantom Podcast, and today I have a very special guest, a fellow Brummie. Well, I'm not actually from Birmingham, but we have fellow gym owner Dino. How do you say your surname, Dino?
Well,
Iles.
nobody ever says it, to be honest, Son.
Yeah.
It's Iles. But I mean, my first name actually isn't Dean. It's Dino. It's Dean. But because of a nickname I've had for God knows how many years, mate, it's always stuck. So that's what it is. Anyway.
Yeah, so we have Dino from Dino's Gym, the legendary Dino's Gym, and
So they say.
Dino's been in this game for longer than I've cared to know. So you've been in the industry a long time, haven't you, Dino?
I have, mate. Thanks for having me on. But yeah, I have, mate. It's nice to be on the other end of the mic for a change instead of me doing all the talking, which I'll probably do anyway. I've been doing this now, mate. It's only 11 years out of my life I haven't lifted weights. So I had my first gym, to be honest, in the garden, down my bedroom. And then obviously that used to get on the old lady's nerves, people knocking the door, can I come in and train? And it started from there to a shed in my garden, and we used to train before school, and we had a glass jar and everybody put 2 pence in or a penny, and when it was filled up we'd buy a mirror or something, or I don't know, something to lift. And then sure enough, once people got to hear about me having a gym in the garden in the shed, then all the neighbours would leave stuff on the front lawn, heavy, an anvil or I don't know, an axle or something. So the old lady would put the curtains back of the morning, and then she'd go, "Hey, big un, look what's on the effing garden again, you bugger. What's this now?" And so that couldn't last long, because we had people knocking the back gate for forever and ever and ever, and it got on the nerves. So what happened then? I mean, tell me if I'm going on, because I won't stop.
How old was you at the time?
I was about 12 or 13.
That is quite an early age to start training, isn't it?
Yeah, but all it was, I seen the Charles Atlas advert in the magazine. I don't know if you know who Charles Atlas was.
Not personally, but obviously I've heard of him. Yes.
Yeah. It was to be honest, it was just a marketing tool. But
so was it like the typical Arnold and Stallone movies? Are we talking before?
No, this is way before that. This guy had leopard skin short pants on, and he pulled
talking
trucks.
like early 60s, aren't we?
Oh yeah, early 60s, yeah. And he bent bars and all this, and the advert in the magazine, which is quite famous. He'd never get away with it now. He was kicking sand in somewhere. No, he was lying on the beach, and then someone kicked sand in his face and stole his girl. So he started doing all this ice attention stuff. And next minute, he was getting all the girls. So I thought, that's exactly what I want to do. So I cut it out the Evening Mail and sent off for it. And when it came, it was all ice attention, all this nonsense, and all this, and there wasn't even no weights.
Wasn't actually lifting weights. It was just like tensing the muscle.
Yes, but to be honest, you was buying a dream, and that's what lit the fire then. And I remember going to a show early. I was maybe 14. I heard about this Muscle Man show down at the Glebe in I don't know, the other by me in Birmingham, by my mum.
So have you always been lived in Birmingham, Dino?
Yeah, I have, mate. Yeah, I have. Yeah, well, as you can hear from my voice.
Like prior to sort of obviously Dorian sort of put bodybuilding on the map in Birmingham, but prior to that, there wasn't really much talk about bodybuilding in Birmingham, was there?
No, not really. It was always underground, but to be honest, that made it even more exciting and more. I don't know, more of a drive to get involved with it. And going to see my first show, like I said to you, I don't know, I heard it. I think I've just seen a clipping on a wall in a pub or something, or outside a pub. Mr. Glebe, 1972 or something, or 19. Yeah. So I remember seeing it. So I went down there, opened the door, got in, paid 10p, whatever it was. And the sweat was dripping off the ceiling, Simon. And I thought, well, what's all this about? I could just about see, because I was tiny. And then, do you remember a guy called Vince D'Alessandro?
I know Vince well from Kettering.
Yeah, well, Vince. Well, Vince was the guest star. Yeah,
the Italian guy.
That's it. And he had glasses on, and all it was the light bulb and a little cross. And then the music came on, and I was trying to look over these guys' shoulders. And I seen this guy come out covered in oil, standing there doing all this to the music. And I thought, that's exactly what I want to do. Where's the gym? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And so that's you know, I went to 1 or 2 little gyms, but I thought, no, I wanted to be secret and start training at home and eventually turn up, you know, 6 months or 12 months later like Mr. Olympia. But unfortunately, that never happened because, unlike yourself, my hips were wider than my shoulders, and I soon realised that the actual bodybuilding side of it was nice to love it, but I was never going to do no good at competing.
So back then, was there many gyms around in Birmingham?
No, not really, mate, not at all. There was ones where you could go to, you paid your 10 pence or your 20 pence, and it had about half a dozen bits of equipment in there: a sit-up board on a ladder, a lap machine, a chin-in bar, some dips, and you all went for a run before, you went for a run after. But it was the camaraderie. It didn't really matter about that. We did press-ups, we did all types of stuff. There was ladders at the back of us, and we'd do our chin-ups, leg raises on there. But it was just great. It was exciting. And, you know, before that, I was a runner, so I used to run long distance, and it was great, and I was very, very good at it. But nobody ever come up to me and said, you know, oh, you're a good runner, you know, I've heard about this or I've heard about that. But once I started lifting weights and these started growing, I remember being in the White Hart pub in Chelmsley, and then this guy goes, you got some arms on you. And I thought, bollocks to the running, this is it now. And I just kept pushing on. But I had the dream like everybody else. I had the pictures on the wall of Sergio Olivier and John Grimmick, and I can't think at the time.
Steve Reeves.
Yeah, Steve Reeves, Larry Scott. I
Robinson.
had them on the wall. But I remember my dad and my mum, we were never a close family. And but, you know, that was just a sign of the times. And I remember coming down the stairs one time to go to the gym. And my dad says, hey, Big, I want a word with you. So I said, yeah. So he called me in the living room. So I said, all right. He never spoke to me much, my dad. I said, what can I do for you? He said, well, your brother's got a picture of Pamela Anderson on the wall. I says, yeah. And your other brother's got a picture of, I don't know, somebody out of, Fame on the wall, doing a dance with a thing on that. And you got a picture of 5 blokes covered in oil in pants. Anything you want to tell me? Said, what you on about, Dad? What are you on about? Because it was that unique at the time. And I remember my mum finding me these liquid liver. I hid it under. I was that scared. I hid it under the bed, and I was under the bed. And she goes, "You looking for this? You're on them things. You are. You're on them things. I know you are." Liquid liver, but no, it was exciting times. But the gyms were few and far between. The main gym was the Forum Gym. And that started in about 85, so I'd have been 25 then, and I'd have been doing it a few years then, mainly in the garage. I managed to codge off a neighbour and turn into a gym, and then eventually I plucked up the courage to go to the first Forum under the church, which was about, I think that was 1979. Somebody on here will probably question that, but I'm sure it was, you know, I'd have been young, so it might have been, no, of course, it'd have been about 1975, 74, maybe. Yeah.
And who was the owner then of the
the owner? His name was Chris Lawson, and he was called
so
Grumpy.
He
was called Grumpy, and he was grumpy by name and grumpy by nature. But we needed that though in those days, Simon. We needed it. We needed that sense of discipline, and like the kids today, where you know they do their own thing, we'd hang on to his word, and there was always somebody coming in the gym. You know, there would be there was Bernie Price, and then there'd be Sigmund and the strongmen. You know, it was a formidable place to walk into as a child. It was. You know, I often say I walked in there as a boy and came out a man. It was just
I trained there a few times leading up to my competitions back in like early mid-90s, and just to get away from the gym I was training at in Lichfield, and you'd always see some sort of well-known strongman or top professional bodybuilder there.
And it had the latest.
I remember seeing a few seminars there at all.
Yes,
I seen Mike Quinn there one year. Remember Mike Quinn, obviously.
I was there that day. So I was there.
I think he offered someone out to the audience.
What it was, I remember as plain as day. Sorry to talk over you. What it was, Mike was chatting. And Mike was always a bit leery, and when he was training at the Forum that time, you know, the week because of the seminar, you know, you couldn't really talk to him. He must have been off his nuts on gear or something. I don't know, but you know, I've spoke to Mike recently on Facebook, but you know, he somebody mentioned ran Arnold down, and he started shouting about, "Oh, don't you run Arnold down?" and lost his mind. Remember the poor kid shitting himself. But no, you know, those guys were like gods to us, though, weren't they? Because you'll never see them in the magazines.
Yeah. So when I think it was it Ron Davis who used to bring all the pros to the seminars back in the early 90s. You know, I was still at school, I think, and every seminar I used to like save up my pocket money and make sure I wouldn't miss a seminar. So throughout the whole early 90s, I'd seen sort of every top pro that was there: Lee Labrado, Bodie May, Bertil Fox, Victor Richards, you name it. I went to see these guys. Yeah,
but Muscle Machine, I mean, that's really where I cut my teeth. Really, Ron Davis was like the dad I never had, and that's another story. I mean, this is, you know, I could go on and on, but I remember Muscle Machine hearing about this gym opening on Her Street, and I used to go up to the markets anyway and get my fruit and veg and take it back on the bus home, and then hide it in my wardrobe so that my brothers and that couldn't eat it. Anyway, so I remember one time, and I knew exactly where the venue was going to be, and it was all had newspaper on the window so you couldn't see it, and I'd be looking. Anyway, and just like Yossi Hughes out of Boys from the Black Stuff, you won't remember that show. Every time I seen Ron outside, I'd say, "Give us a job."
Well,
John, go on. Was it?
Do you want to know a funny story? I actually stayed at his house.
No.
1990, Liverpool.
John Bleasdale.
Sorry.
John Bleasdale.
John. Yeah, I knew his son Tim.
How did you know? How did you know him then?
One of my best friends, went on a cruise ship once, and John was in there with his son Tim Bleasdale. Then we went to visit Tim in Liverpool, and we actually stayed at John Bleasdale's house.
Never.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, swear to God, yeah.
My God.
He's got a son the same age as me.
Really?
Yeah.
How strange. Yeah. I mean, it was very dark. Anyway, so there was a guy called Yossi Hughes in that, and he used to say, "Give us a job, give us a job." Anyway,
give us a job.
Yeah, give us a job, and otherwise he'd headbutt him. So I didn't do that to Ron. But anyway, I kept asking. He says, "Mate, dude, there's no jobs here." He said, "You know, we're just starting out. So I'd go up there every week, see how it was going on, you know, the excitement of this new gym. And you could tell by Ron, he had some charisma. He looked tanned. His hair was jet black, slicked back. And I thought, there's something about this guy. Anyway, and sure enough, I went up there about week 6, 7, and they were bringing the carpet in. So as the carpet come out the thing, I just got on the back of the roll and started walking in. He's like, "Fuck me, dude. Can't you take no for an answer?" Because there's no work. I said, "Can I just look round?" And the smell of it and the equipment, and it was all unwrapped and
coloured. Was this for like the new gym? Was this?
Yeah, for the new gym at Muscle Machine.
Do you want to explain to like the audience? Because obviously a lot of people wouldn't know who Ron Davis was, but
Ron Davis, it was a colourful character. And he, to be honest, he was larger than life, but he knew how to put a show on, and he was just a great guy. He owned a gym in Birmingham called Muscle Machine, as we're talking about, but he ended up being the president of the IFBB in the UK, I'm led to believe.
Yes. So Ron's gym called Muscle Machine. It was all red, wasn't it? If I remember right, it had a shop at the front.
That's how I did mine.
And you just smell a protein powder when you walk in. But Ron's gym it's not far from my current gym. It's probably less than a mile. So
it is.
It's in Chinatown, not far from Chinatown, but it's I think it's a car park now. Sadly, I think that would have done really well nowadays, that gym.
Well, I don't know if maybe it would have, mate, but I don't know. But I know one thing, that guy, I owe him more than I could ever say. He taught me everything. You know, he used to say to me, anyway, so how I got the job, just quickly. I remember going to see Frank Richards. I don't know if these guys and girls will ever remember Frank Richards. He was doing his comeback. After an accident, he fell off onto a railway line or something. I'm led to believe.
1987 was this?
Oh no, you'll know more than me. But anyway, so I went to
the Champions '87, didn't he?
That's right. So I think Muscle Machine opened in about 84. Anyway, something like that, 85. So you're not far away. So anyway, so I went up to Oldham or somewhere like that, right up north. And driving in back in the day in a little old shitty car, you know, it was a daunting thing, but you went to support the seminar. So we was all excited. I went up there, actually on my own, to be honest. And I went for a piss and in the toilet, Ron Davis was there. Because you're that fucking dude. I says, yeah. Because I tell you what, come in the gym Monday, I'll give you the job. If you've drove all the way up here, he said, "Did you come with us on my own? You've drove all the way up here on your own."
Was Ron the promoter for the seminar, was he?
Probably, and Ron was probably getting 90% and everybody else was getting 10%. But anyway, so and that's how I got the job. And like you said, it was a special place. Same again, a bit like the Forum. There was always a star in there. It could be Sean Ray, it could be Vince Taylor, Lee Labrado, you never know, Tom Platz. So I was very, very lucky and very, very fortunate in the time I was there to
I've met some big names.
big names, and train with those people.
Yeah.
Go and have lunch with those people who then become friends in later life. So I've been very, very lucky. And
so give me some names and you know, some people that you've obviously befriended at the muscle machine.
Oh, blimey, mate, what are you talking about? I mean, do you remember Diana Dennis and Ian Lawrence?
Yes, Diana Dennis. She was she
pair.
placed in the Miss Olympia, didn't she?
Yeah.
Sort of late 80s, 90s, yeah.
And then there was
curly
Tanya
hair,
Knight.
dark hair.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
it.
I met Tanya Knight.
Yeah, there was there's too many to mention. You know, Leela Brada, like I said to you, there was Tom, there was Sean, there was Vince Taylor, Bob Paris.
Paris, yeah, I see the seminar.
It was an absolute incredible seminar, but my job was to take them up to Pizzaland and, you know, entertain them in the day and keep them talking. As you can see,
did they have the seminars in the actual gym, or did they rent out?
Sometimes they did, but he used to hire out the town hall, which must have cost a fortune in those days, Simon. It must have cost a fortune.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The ones I went to was in a Liberty's nightclub.
Yeah,
on Hadley Road.
Yeah, he used to love that venue because he had Labrada there. He was on with his friend, his training partner called somebody
Grimes, Regan, Stoney Lee Grimes.
Stoney Lee Grimes.
Yeah.
So anyway, me and my mates, we paid.
I was there that seminar.
Well, I was there. Yeah. So I don't know if you remember it this way or whether I've just all the stories got clouded in my head. So this is what I remember of it. I remember going there and we paid. It was quite a lot of money at the time for us. Anyway, so me and my mate Chris, we went in, and he had a black polo net top on, slacks and all the rest of it. He looks about fucking 5'1". He looks fuck all. Who is this guy? I thought, oh God. So my mate says, should we go to the Strathell and just have a few drinks? Bollocks to this. It looks shit. And I said, no, hang on. So anyway, Lee was doing a bit of a chit chat. Then they said he's going to do his Olympia posing routine, if I remember, or some posing routine. And he went off. And then the music came on, as far as I can remember. You might remember different. But when the curtains went back, or whenever the lights went on, or whatever it was, I just couldn't believe what I was looking at. How that person from a little dwarf he could fire out of a cannon turned into that beautiful physique. His elbows tiny, and how he posed. It was like he was standing on a cake stand. He just moved around. And me and my mate were like, we just couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was but yeah, going back to Ron, he knew how to entertain my old boss at Muscle Machine, and that's what I always picked up on. He used to say to me, "Listen, Dino, people come to our gym on the bus or two buses. They could go to any gym, but they choose to come to our gym. So you've got to treat them like gold." And that's the way I've always ran my business. And you know, God bless him. But also as well, I don't know about you, Simon. When obviously you've got your own gym. When I used to go to other gyms like Grumpy's at the Forum Gym in Chelmsford, which I was lucky enough to own in the end and get all the equipment out, which was great. And Ron's gym, you know, even if I come to yours sometimes, I always look then and perhaps pinch a little idea off yours, or think how I could do something better, or I think, oh, Simon's got that machine next to that machine. That's a good idea. Or he's got that, or you know what I mean? So I knew something that I wasn't settled in my head, and I thought, I've got to have a go myself and start my own. I've got to. And I didn't really want to tell Ron. I wasn't really strong-minded enough, and I didn't want to let him down.
So you were, whilst you were working there, you wanted to do your own thing after a while.
I knew within weeks, really.
How long was you there for, working at Muscle Machine?
Probably about 6 or 7 years, maybe. Okay. Something like that.
Quite a long time.
Yes, a long time. Yeah. And then I just got restless, and I thought, well, how can I possibly own a gym like this? It's impossible. Yeah. So what I did, I joined the fire service then, and I knew they had 4 days off. I only did it because they'd had loads of time off. I thought, that's what I'll do. I'll do that and run the gym in between. But yeah, so that's what I did. But I ended up having an accident, which forced me into opening it full time. But yeah. So I think that was in 89, 90 Dinos, something like that. Yeah.
So the Dinos that you've got at the moment, that's not from the original 1990.
No, it's literally the one we wanted was the one we original was literally just down the road. I'd have stayed there till today, Simon. But what it was, my ex-landlord, I hope he does watch this, he was a twat. So he always wanted to say it. He was always up in the rent, constantly, always up in the rent, never doing any repairs. There was holes in the ceiling. You could see planes going over, and we was paying premium rent. And he drove us out, really. So that's why I had to, relocate. And then I heard about the Forum. Diana had enough and Grumpy had enough. So I went up to knock the door. I says, I want to buy the gym. And she goes, well, because it's you and you opened your own gym, I'm going to charge an extra 50 grand. I was like, fuck me. But 50 grand over 25 years, I thought, okay, I can sit on that. Dino's is literally...
when you took over Forum, you took over the whole job lot, the
everything.
Equipment, the clientele, the membership, everything.
And I still had Dino's as well.
Did you?
Yeah, I still had Dino's as well. But
so how far were the gyms apart from each other?
Oh, quite a way, to be honest, mate. It's about,
so they didn't
8
conflict.
miles. They didn't conflict, and they were two totally different areas. But unfortunately for me, I'd been in the Forum literally, I would say, Simon, 3 weeks, and then let's come through the door. I opened it up, compulsory purchase of the council. We're knocking the whole area down and redevelop it. So that forced me really to go back to Solihull, where I am now, and hopefully stay there forever.
So how long was you owner of the Forum for then, before they knocked it down?
Longer than what I think, probably about 10 years.
Oh, so
10 years.
And how was it managing 2 gyms at the same
time?
Hard.
And also as well, I like to treat every member as if I've met them for the first time and look after them. And there were 2 totally different members, totally different memberships, and it just got too much for me. So luckily, it was a blessing in disguise that the council did compulsory purchases. It was stressful for me at the time because I had to find new premises straight away and I thought, well, I need to get back over to Solihull. That's where I belong. That's what I feel comfortable.
Looking back, would you have took on the Forum if you'd known how much stress it would have been?
It wasn't so much the stress. I mean, I don't know whether I've ever spoke to you about it, but what happened, I mean, it's a bit of a sensitive subject to talk about, but I don't mind. I'm an honest guy. So, the dynamics of the area changed. The Chelmsley Wood, I've been born and bred up in Chelmsley Wood. I lived on Cook's Lane, so I'm not speaking out of turn, but people changed. And the youngsters, not all the youngsters, we had some fabulous times and fabulous members there. But one time, I got assaulted there, and I thought, well, that's it. I had to leave anyway because of the what's it, but it just forced me to do it even quicker. And I pushed it on because I may have fought the council and says, no, I want this gym as well. So the dynamics change, the area, the gangs. And
did you find taking on like an existing gym? Obviously, people have been training there a lot longer than you've been there, and they got set in their ways. People, they like change. That's what I've known. So when I took over Temple Gym 2007. Dorian had always ran it, and a lot of his friends, family, etc., trained there, and no one paid for anything. They just used the gym as a DOS place. And when I took over, and I really wanted to make a go of it and make a business out of it, I changed the dynamics of the gym. I said, look, everyone's going to pay now. We're going to have drinks, and it's going to be run like a proper business. And people didn't like it, and they treated me like a bit of an outsider. And it took a while for them to accept me. It was hard. It was hard at first, but when they see the gym improving and getting better and busier, and I was reinvesting back in the gym, I think at the end they appreciated it.
Nobody likes change, Tom, including myself. Nobody does. And if you was training in your gym or if I was training in my gym and didn't own them, we didn't own our gyms, and things were a new guy come in, we'd probably get anxious really, because it's your gym very, very quickly becomes your home because you're there 4 or 5, 6 times a week. So, you take it a bit personal. Perhaps you shouldn't, but you do. And I certainly got a load of stick. I remember turning up the first day with the all the equipment from Dino's and bringing it over, and the bits and pieces I had at Dino's, which were too much, so I could offset it and fill the Forum up. Because unfortunately, the owner, Chris, he won't mind me saying because it's the truth. He started once I'd done the deal. I think I had about 6 weeks before I moved in. He was nicking off the equipment. He was taking the equipment out. The equipment I bought for. But that was the nature of Chris. That's how he was.
Did you not Did you not do like a stock take before?
I did a stock take. I also paid a member, his membership, or a member of Dino's to train there and let me know exactly what was going on. He says, Dino, there's a seat leg curls just gone every day, every minute of every day. I thought, shit, they wouldn't let me in the premises, Diane and Chris. And obviously they said they was taking, I don't know, X amount of pounds a year. So I thought, I'll tell you what, that's good. We'll be all right at that. As soon as I opened the door, just like yourself, I thought nobody's paying. Nobody's paying. So we had to change the structure of the gym. But like you said, once they knew that you was passionate about the gym and the gym wasn't going anywhere, and I told them if it wasn't for me taking over the gym and risking it, I said this gym would have closed. She was going to sell it. She was going to sell it, and everything would have been scrapped. And there was some original Gym 80, which is now at Dino's. I mean, that Gym 80 equipment, as you know, because you've been down mine recently.
Yeah, I tried it on it a few weeks ago. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, it's great
It's
old
probably
stuff.
like 30 years old, isn't it?
More, mate, yeah. More.
Yeah.
And it works like a dream. We strip it down every month, and oil it and make sure everything's right. And I think, like you say, you've got the passion, I've got the passion. I think once people see through that, there's nothing
people see that you sort of care about the place. I mean, I remember when I first took over Temple, because it was so dark in there, and I remember how tight Dorian is. I started putting new light bulbs.
It was a shithole, mate.
Yeah, and Dorian came in and goes, "Why have you put new light bulbs in?" I said, "Because you couldn't fucking see, and it was so dark. It was like a health hazard." Yeah. You were in the ambience of the gym. I said, "Look, you've asked me to take over. I've paid you X amount. Yeah, I'm running it how I want it to." And then I started like changing the showers, putting new showers in there, new toilet, and he didn't like the change, but I think after a while we got more better clientele, which sort of did appreciate it, because we were right in the smack center of town, so we used to get people training there early, having a shower, then going to work after. Before, you couldn't do that because you wouldn't step your foot in there. Them showers were disgusting.
Simon, well, there's a story there. I remember Dorian phoning, but well, just quickly first, I remember going down there, going down the stairs, and you think, oh, he'll be fucking go. Huntley would be there, all the lads. Remember Huntley? Now, remember the ones with the stick? The black guy.
The black guy
with the dread thing. Lovely guy. And Dino, all that. Anyway, so
he was always at the shows, wasn't he?
Yeah, always at the shows, and he'd turn up at Dino's, and lovely bloke. But anyway, so I remember going into the temple and going to the change rooms. And a bit like the forum, when I was a kid, when I went to the forum, I was in the change room. I think, fucking okay, I've got change. I put all my DP down, my liniment now. I've got to go in the gym here. And you could hear the clattering, the shouting, and the fucking loud rock music. I thought, oh, fucking hell. But I remember being in the change rooms, and I thought, I need a piss. So I went to the toilet, and the toilet was level with piss. You couldn't flush it, and it was just full. So I said to this guy, well, I need a piss. He goes, yeah, I'll just piss in the bin. And the bin was full, with yogurt pots fucking floating. I thought, fucking hell, man. This is fucking hell. But, like you say, people don't like change. But there's it's all right having a hardcore gym. You've got to have a certain amount of cleanliness, Dorian, you dirty
especially for Temple at the time, because they were used to having, obviously, Dorian running it, and after he retired, he sort of lost interest in the gym, and obviously I came onto the scene, and people didn't really know who I was. They just thought he was this kid. He's not going to last.
What year was that?
Not 2007.
Well, they did, because it's a shame really, because of the laptop here and this picture. You can't really see this. I don't know if you can in here, but I was looking through here earlier. Do you remember this magazine?
Muscle News, Alex McKenna's.
Yeah. So I was looking through, and Jason Santo was here, and I haven't had time, but I've got some magazines here.
I met Jason Santo last year, actually. He works at Opticians.
Jason?
Yes,
oh, okay.
He works at Specsavers in Sutton Coldfield.
Oh, really? Yeah. I might drop in there then.
He knew me, but I didn't know him. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah, no, he's a lovely lad, Jason. But anyway, now people knew of you because you was always competing.
Yeah, I suppose.
And now everyone knew you.
2007, there weren't many competitive bodybuilders at Temple Gym. There was hardly any. It was like a handful. There was no one competing when I was there. So I managed to, because I was still competing, I managed to get competitors training from other gyms, and so there was no one competing for Temple. No one.
So okay, so what year was it you took over, Dorian? Were you just managing it then, or was you owning it and managing?
I took over it 2000. I managed it for 2007 and 2008 when I sort of got things going, and I thought, you know what, I can make a go of this place. I said to Dorian, I want to buy this place off you, and he says, look, because I'll never sell it, but you can buy the lease off me for 10 years. So I paid him X amount. This was 2008. And I remember he went around with a piece of paper, and he wrote down every single piece of equipment, every single plate, even like the 2.5s, every
really?
Bar. He wrote down a whole stock list of everything. Even
I can't imagine him doing that.
Yeah,
really?
And he made me sign it. He did a proper.
It's a shame he hasn't.
Yeah,
it's a shame he hasn't kept on like that, because he's bleeding. He's shit. Fuck me, he's shit. I'm surprised he's done that. So, I was going to end up interviewing you. So you had that in 2000 and what you say, 3?
2007, and obviously I left 2012, end of 2012. So I was there for good 6 years.
Okay. Yeah, I
But
mean,
like you, I was towards the end. I got a bit fed up there, and even though I took over the gym, I just didn't feel like it was my gym. Dorian was still present, but he was just, I don't
you'd
know.
have
I just
always
thought I
been
couldn't
in
do
Dorian's
it.
shadow.
Yeah,
You would
I
have
just
always
felt
been
like
that way.
I wanted to do something myself, and obviously that's when I opened my gym, as you know.
Yeah, I mean, with Dorian, like I said to you, with you said people didn't know you, but I remember when you opened your gym and it was the talk of the town. Everybody, I got wind of it straight away. Somebody told me that Simon, so you was well known. I mean, like I said, I can't find it now, but I was looking earlier. He was in a couple of the mags I was looking at in here earlier. I was trying to find them out, but no. So did you find that yourself a bit like me? That did you gone as far as you gone in bodybuilding, and that was it then?
No,
Was your dream to be Mr. Olympia?
I was still
Mine.
competing quite regularly, even from 2007 onwards. When I took over Dorian's, I was still competing every year from there. So I was still.
So when you was training with Sheridan, Mike Sheridan,
Mike was coming up from Oxford. I actually met Mike. Obviously, I knew who he was from competing, but I met him when he was prepping for 2010 Night of the Champions, and he used to fly up from Oxford to get a check-in with Dorian. And so Mike would come in every Friday. It'd always be early, and Dorian would always be late. So Mike would sit at the end of the counter with his chicken and rice. Then I got talking to Mike, and we became really good friends. And Dorian would always be 2 hours late, and I could see Mike was getting a bit pissed off because he was hungry and he needs to get back. And Dorian would okay, get into pose. Yeah, that's it. Nothing needs to change and go back. So I said, Mike goes, I need to get away from my gym once a week, and would you be up for training? I said, yeah, I'd love to train with you. So from then on, we never missed a session in probably 10 years. He used to come up from Oxford to train with me at Temple Gym, as you've seen before.
Yeah, I mean, we had him down the forum when I owned the forum. Yeah, as we did a guest spot. I don't know if he ever told you.
Yeah, he did.
And it went absolutely great because the lads in Chelms, they'd never seen anything like that. The youngsters, and he did a great. I mean, for people who don't know, Mike Sheridan was a British bodybuilder, middleweight, a lovely guy. He's no longer with us no more, unfortunately. But he had a fabulous physique, and I think if went as far as he could probably have gone.
Yeah, he made it to the Mr. Olympia.
Oh, he got on stage, did he?
Yeah, he got on stage. Have you not seen the pictures of him and Ronnie? So he was on stage. They did a call out, and he actually got third at the Russian Grand Prix. Ronnie won it. A guy called Alex Fedorov got second, and Mike Sheridan got third.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, bless him. But yeah. I mean, he did a guest star at the forum, and I think I was like picking him up, and he came in the forum, like I said to you, and we got a black backdrop for him and all the rest of it. Did it all professional, did a bit of a chit chat. And he said, I'll hit a few poses, Dino, that's all. I said, I thought it was just a chit chat. But he took his top off. I think he felt a bit insecure, but once I got him in the back, I said, Mike, just pump up, you'll be fine. And he took the roof off. It was a special night, that was. And I've got to look on my old phones. I keep all my old phones. My son goes, mad, Dad, you should trade them all in. I've got hundreds of phones out there. I'm going to go through them all.
I'd say that, yeah.
Well, I've got the videos. I've got the video record.
I've
got the record somewhere.
Because you know what? In the 10 years I trained with Mike, he never stripped off. He was always trained in no matter how hot it was, he was trained in like football top, like American football top, and a hoodie. And he would never strip off, and he would never he never had a smartphone like an iPhone. He always had like the old Nokia pre-smartphones. He'd always had one of them, so no distractions. Which was obviously business. And in all the years, training 10 years, I haven't got one picture of me and him training together. Not one.
Oh, really?
It's a bit sad, but it's
Do you know? I think I may be wrong, but like I said, I will go through all my old phones. I will. Before I peg it, I want to, make some type of a film or do something. I don't know, but I want to do something because I enjoy all this side of it. But the last time I seen Mike live was with you, and it must have been a Friday, obviously. And I came to the temple, and you'd just done legs, and you were sitting on the left hand side somewhere. It was in the old temple because they had the old legs. Was it in the back there? I can't remember.
Yeah, the leg room.
They had the leg room. Yeah, the leg room. That's right. And I remember coming over and me being me, I was larking around and messing around, and he was really racked off. He goes, "Not now, Dino, it's just not now." I was like, "Oh, fucking hell." And but I remember taking a couple of snaps because it was quite, you were talking to him and he was sitting down, and he used to talk for ages after you, Per. You weren't behind the counter, you were sitting on the left-hand side of the counter.
Have you got pictures from that of you?
Yeah, I've got pictures somewhere on one of my old phones. I have. Yeah. I mean, they won't be brilliant quality, but there's another story.
I've no pictures from Mike at all. Not one.
Really?
Shame. Yeah.
I mean, and how long
Mike was like, it wasn't very. He didn't have social media. He didn't have any Instagram or Facebook. He didn't have any. He couldn't even take a picture on his phone. That's how old his phone was. And I didn't want to start doing selfies while we were training, just to sort of disrespect Mike. So it was like pure business.
He wasn't the most sociable of guys either, really. But it was
towards the end, because obviously when he sort of retired from bodybuilding, and he wanted to progress his gym, I said, look, you need to get your gym on social media. He didn't have social media for his gym, so I said, look, I set up an Instagram account and I told him what to do. And I said, look, it'll be a big distraction, but to grow your business, you need to do it. You need to have social media, otherwise you're just going to be stuck in the 80s, 90s. So it took a while to get the head around it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest. I think if he was still with us now, I think that he'd just still struggle with that side. He'd have had to get somebody else in.
Somebody did sort of take care of his social media, but he couldn't. It was just too much for his for him to cope with. And
no, he just loved the training side of it, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did.
I would have loved to have got him on this podcast just to talk about things, but
shame there.
We can remember.
A shame. Yeah. But good guy, real good guy.
Yeah, you have to find his pictures.
No, I'll sort all that out.
Yeah. I did have some questions. I did have some questions.
So once I start talking, I'll digress and you'll be fucked then. We'll start talking about the old days. Yeah, go on.
Tell me what you enjoy about owning a gym then, owning Dino's.
I'll tell you what I enjoy, Simon. And I've said to Kurt, I made a fatal mistake one year, and I got a sales team in. They talked me into it really, and on paper it looked great. They said, "We'll get you loads of members in. We'll do this, do that." And I know all these people started coming in because it was cheap.
Was it one of them? The network, the marketing
team for 3 years.
Yeah. They pay like you get lumps on. They basically charge. Yeah, I did that one. Yeah, not the current gym I am now.
But I got stuck with that. Then I noticed the dynamics had changed in the gym considerably. And I soon realised, I said to Kurt, Kurt, we've got everything we needed. We've got people since the first day. We will never be, a gym group of fitness first.
Did you do that for Dino's? Did you do that for the forum?
No, I did it for Dino's. You could never have done it at a forum. You could never have done it at a forum. It was just that. I mean, it was a bit like the temple. It was just too hardcore. Dino's is hardcore. It's got an hardcore mentality, but obviously we've got a certain amount of cleanliness and other bits and pieces we've got to stick to. But I looked at the fitness first, and I looked at all these gyms opening by us and all these corporate gyms, the Virgins, and I remember now, and Banner Time, because we got a couple of gyms in Solihull. He came to my gym, physically came to my gym with a couple of blokes, pretending they were members, Duncan. And I remember him after. I didn't realise at the time, but we took some photos and bits and pieces, and he was on the picture. And he was doing a book signing in Solihull about 4 years later, about entrepreneurship and everything else. So I shook his hand. He goes, "Oh, do you want a book?" I says, "No, mate." I said, "But you call yourself an entrepreneur." I said, "My name's Dino from Dino's Gym." I said, "You came down and pinched my ideas and opened your own." Anyway, but the point being was, I tried to keep people. I thought people want oat lockers. They want fucking towels. They want a newspaper when they come in and this, that, and the other. And I tried to do that because I suppose I panicked and not really realising what I'd already got in the palm of my hand, the magic and the passion and the members. So after about 4 or 5 weeks of this sales team being in, and sure enough, the gym was getting busy and the members were complaining, I thought, this isn't right. This isn't right. So I stopped it. They threatened me to take me to court. So take me to court. And I cancelled all the old.
Because it wasn't. So with this company, I think they're called CFM, or I can't remember what else was they called.
That's it, CFM, and there was a company called AMC.
They would sell mass cheap memberships to like people that would never train before. so with the pay cheap membership, and you would get percentages from it, and they'd have to join the gym for 3 years. But what my experience was, you get a massive rush at the beginning of the membership as people sort of it sort of died down, didn't it? The membership.
It died down, Simon,
and they
but
had to keep paying.
They had to keep paying, and they didn't. Some of them, you know, they were unscrupulous, the sales team, and you know, it caused me a bit of drama. I thought, I don't need this. One off the members, and two off the people who, to be honest, a lot of them were just coerced into joining, you know, on the strength of something else, and believing some type of a dream, or it was. But anyway,
do you know what I did? Let me just sorry. I got on well with the sales guy, and I know
the guy. Yeah,
I said to him, "I'll tell you what." I said, "How much are you earning?" And he told me, I said, "I'll tell you what, every guy you get through, put them straight through me and I'll give you a cut." So we were getting members from their database or their sales, and they were signing me. I was signing them straight up to me directly without going through CFM, and I was giving the salesman a drink. His name was Alan. So
I managed to never knew you then.
Yeah, I know.
What a shame I never knew you then.
I thought I'm only getting like, I think the memberships are £300 for the 3 years, and I'm getting like £99, and obviously they're getting £200. I thought, you know what? Let's see what I can do. So I sort of backdoored them, and yeah.
But it was all about volume, though, wasn't it? It was just trying to get them. Yeah. That's all it was. And you know,
it wasn't fair on the members that were paying full price that have been there from day one. That's why I found.
It didn't sit right with me. I mean, Ron Davis, my old boss, he wouldn't have given a shit. He wouldn't have. Ron wouldn't have. But I did, and I think that there lies the crux of it all. I think that's what's so good about Dino's and your gym is the fact that I've got people there from day one, and they'll always be there. And as long as you look after them, and if you treat your gym like a corner shop, as far as I'm concerned, and you know what everybody wants to eat, what they want to drink as soon as they walk through the door, you know them by name, you're always going to do all right. You're always going to do okay. And I think that's why we've always done, and we've stuck to our values. But you know, there has been times when the gym group and all these gyms now, but I look at them as feeder gyms because we pick up a lot of members, Simon, off these people now because they don't get treated like we treat them because we care. We actually care.
Yeah, and also you get people that are sort of quite intimidated to go into like a proper bodybuilding gym. So they start off at Fitness First or the pure gym. They'll get a bit of strength, then they'll max out. They think, okay, what's the next step? Then they'll come to a gym like ours. Whether they should have just come to a gym like ours to start with and had the foundation from there rather than wasting 2-3 years at the pure gym. That's what I found.
Yeah. You know, I always look at the positive, Simon. I think without those feeder gyms, as I call them now, you know, I think we wouldn't be struggling, but we might have to. But I think, like you say now, but 9 times out of 10, when somebody comes from that gym group, they come in my gym, and after being there a week, or 2 weeks, they go, "Why the fuck didn't I come here years ago?" I said, "But you know, it's just the way it is, son. You know, and you know, and they." And also as well, Simon, you know, we will show them an exercise. If they're doing it wrong, we will show them, or somebody in the gym will show them, or they'll end up training it. And that's what's so good about Dino's and like yours. You know,
you'll have pieces of equipment, your gym, like rare pieces that you won't find at Fitness First or the gym group.
You know, you won't find like on the walls. Yeah,
exactly,
you know, all the memorabilia, they look round, you know, looks, I've got some bits and pieces there, but at the gym, it's, you know, it's water.
Yeah, I always look up into your gym. I always see something new that I've never seen before, or an old photo of, you know, of a powerlifter or bodybuilder. I think, oh, fucking hell, I remember that magazine cover from 1991 and I remember reading that magazine. So, you know, my memory is very good when it comes to bodybuilding.
Well, it is. I mean, I've got a few magazines. Before we knock this on the head, I'm going to just see if I'm going to get my glasses on, see if you know who the covers are. But I mean, I think I've got to be honest. Apart from Peter McGuff, I don't know who's going to be watching this, but Peter was a dear friend of mine, and Bob Ciccarello as well. I don't know Bob too well. I've had some dealings with him, but I don't know Bob personally. But
he's all over the internet at the moment, isn't he, Bob Ciccarello?
He is, and he's larger than life. And Bob, nobody loves Bob more than Bob. So anyway, but what Bob is, a bit like yourself, he can recall from way back, Simon, way back. So you know, and I think you still love the history of it all, don't you?
I do, yeah. That's the reason why. Sorry.
Go on. Do you get frustrated the way the kids train now? I'm not saying we train harder, but I think we train.
You know what? It's. I see this, especially at my gym. everyone gets influenced by Instagram, YouTube, and stuff like that, and you just get kids trying to reinvent the wheel. They're trying to make everything easier than it should be. I'll give you an instance. We got a Cybex hack squat at my gym. It's like a famous hack squat. Now you get these kids here. They're putting on these like big green bands to make it easier. So when you do the hack squat, it pulls you back up. The whole idea is it's supposed to be hard at the bottom. That's where you develop your strength. And they're putting these like massive bands on. And like I said, why don't you just do it lighter weight rather than putting 3 plates on? Just do 2 plates for proper reps. And then it's just, I don't know.
I mean, like yourself, I mean, we've got a couple of 3-leg presses, Simon, and you know, they strip the Smith machine down, they lie on the back, and then you're using the Smith machine as a leg press. You know, one, it's dangerous, and two, you know, there's no need. But you know, you're exactly right. I mean, when we used to train, I mean, they're going to be looking at this thinking like 2 old cocks, but it's true. We used to think, how can we make it hardest? But there was a kid on the leg press, my old Leisure Lines leg press the other day, and it's years old. You know, it's 30 years old, if not more. And he had 5, 6, 7 plates on it, but he was doing a half rep. He weren't going down, and it was shit. So I said to the young lad, I said, "I'll tell you what, Jake, strip this down, put 3 plates on." He goes, "Well, about 3 plates then." So put 3 plates on there. Let me just finish my cup of tea. Put it on the side. I says, "Right, now 3 seconds down. When you get up, just off the lockout, just 3 seconds down, just like a pendulum on a clock." Just, and I said, "Don't even count. Anybody can count to 10. My daughter can count to 10 at 3 years old. That's bollocks. There's 10 and there's 10. There's 10 when it's hurting and it's screaming like you and Sheridan on the back and down the training legs. That's when you start counting. That's when you start building muscle." So, you know, he said, "I've done 10. I said, "Well, let's just carry on. Let's just carry on slow and don't speed up." So we were always thinking, and he got off and he was ruined. He goes, "Oh, that's me done." I said, "What are you on about, mate?" I said, "Fuck me, you got 3 more sets, then we got to do 2 more exercises." He goes, "Nah, then I'm done. And then next day, come in walking like fucking Tin Man, could hardly walk. So, you know, but I could see, I'm never trying to bully people, but I could see he was thinking. I said, "You know, what about if you could get twice the results with half the amount of effort and without fucking your joints up?" So you're still doing it 62 like me, you know. But it's the work ethic now. And perhaps we'd have been different, Simon, with the phones back in the day, but I doubt it because, you know, I'd get 2 or 3 buses to the gym and the excitement, I'd be thinking about it all day. And I don't know about you. Did you write routines down? I did.
I did. I used to, like, when I was at, I mean, I started training when I was at school, and I remember buying a workout diary, and I used to plan like a whole week's training. So Monday was chest, and the whole week I'd plan everything out. I was very anal about that, and I'd work out exactly how many reps, sets on each particular exercise. I had a logbook back then, so that's how early it was. We're talking.
Have you still got those logbooks?
I haven't. No, no, unfortunately not. I would have liked to, Kevin, but no. So I did journal everything instinctively. I always wrote how I felt. Yeah, how I felt.
Yeah,
yeah. If I had like a headache that day, I'd write it down, and I used to write everything down.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember one time there was a what was it? I don't know what I took. I took some medication for a chest infection, and I put I don't know, took some Pro Plus and this and the other. Felt great. So I thought, okay. And I looked back about 6 months. I thought, tell you what, I'll try this today. I got legs. And sure enough, it worked. And you know, it was all. I think because everything was basic for us, Simon. Basic eating, and we come from an era where we never had much in the family. There wasn't much money, so you just ate your veggies, you ate your chicken, you ate what was put in front of you. You could never go for a takeaway; you couldn't afford it.
No, so we didn't know better, did we? I mean, everything was simple, a lot simpler back then. There wasn't as much choice as there is now. We didn't have prep. Obviously, there's no such thing as a prep coach back then. It was just trial and error yourself.
Yeah, don't even start me on that. I mean, this is going to cause loads of stuff. But, you know, the guys are on stage for literally a minute now because the promoters don't want them on there for long. They want to rush them through. They're on for a minute. And if they do win, they've got to spend 10 minutes on the mic thanking for everybody who's got them on stage. Now, I'd be mortified. I want to do it all myself. I want me to be accountable. I'd ask someone like yourself who's experienced to look at me, and I'd ask Dorian. And I remember one story. I was at the temple. I don't know where you was, but I was at the temple and I was competing, and I knew my legs were shit. They was always shit because I was a runner. My right knee's knackered, and it will always be knackered. But I did the best I could do. Anyway, so I said, "Doz," I said, "I'm holding water on my lower back." I said, "I can't understand it." And he goes, "Strip off." He was right in the middle of the fucking gym. So I knew it pissed him off because I was nosing him. He was trying to fucking do something, or I don't know, he was doing some personal training, fucking 15 minutes, 500 quid. But anyway, so he didn't want me. Last thing he wanted me to do was fucking talk to him. So I was, does. So you can have a look. Dino, fucking wait, Will, this bloke's from Croatia. I said, well, just give him one set. He's fucked. Look, he's fucked. Anyway, so he did his one set. Do you want to do your next exercise? I'm fucked. He was puking up. Right, next. I said, Does, have a look at me. So strip off. So anyway, I'll have to bleep that out. So anyway, so in the middle of the gym, I took it off and he looked at, pinched me lower back really hard as well. And he goes, Dino, you're fucking delusional, mate. That's fucking fat. I was like, bollocks. But at least he told me. He told me what to do about it. He says, right, more cardio, do this, do that, do this, do that. And sure enough, I got down there. But that's as far as it went. I'd ask, you asked your friends and about the gear and the bits and pieces. You'd ask the people what new. I've had too many guys in the past.
I get guys coming to my gym now. They're sort of deluded. They come in and they want to get a pro card within 6 months of training, and they want to get a sponsorship and this and that. And then, but I said, look, if you're not even trained for 6 weeks, don't even think about getting a pro card. Just enjoy training. If you haven't got 5 years of training underneath your belt, don't even think about stuff like that. People don't want to hear it.
But also, it's a shame as well, Simon, now, because the pro cards, I'm sorry to say, and this is going to cause a lot of things.
Well,
they're not worth the paper they're written on. They're not, mate. They're not worth it. You know why there's so many pro cards, to get so many people through the doors. Just you buy your pro card. That's what you do. You buy your pro card. I know the powers that be are probably going to get on to me now about this, but bollocks them, and I'll explain why. They're saying, all these classes, the wellness. What about if you're fucking unwell? If I'm unwell, in an unwellness class, it will feel a bit fucking rough. Fucking wellness. It's all bollocks. It's all created just for to make more income, which I know the sport's going to go, but it needs. But does it get channeled down to the athletes? Some athletes are paying 100 odd quid to do a show. Fuck me, that's madness. Absolute. You're buying your fucking pro.
We had a guy from my gym do 2 bros last weekend, and he had to pay £135 for a class. They obviously had to pay for the £85 registration that you got to pay to the 2 bros. Best part of £300 just to compete for 5 minutes on stage.
Well, what's going to happen with that? I think it's going to happen very, very quickly. The sports, as you can see now, it's changing, and the kids won't compete. And to be honest, mate. Would I compete this day and age? Probably not now. I probably wouldn't know. Am I looking through rose-tinted glasses and thinking it was better in our day? I don't think I am. It was better in our day.
But do you think back then, did you compete EFBB, did you, back in the day?
Yeah, I did the EFBB, as yourself.
Do you think there was more excitement back then when there was
Simon, and I know. I remember the sheer panic in my gym once that Leamington qualifier was announced. Yeah. I remember seeing you there yourself. Once that was announced, we've got to get a ticket. We've got to get a ticket. I'd have to drive to fucking Leamington or Clint's place. Clint's, I need 30 tickets. Well, Dino, I said, mate, I need 30 tickets. Then I phoned in the afternoon. Clint, I need another fucking 5. Dino, you got, and it was
Leamington was probably the biggest show of the year.
I don't know though. I think this one was, mate. This one here. Let me show you this. I think that one there. Yeah, I mean, look what it says, and if it's back to front on there, huge entry. Yeah,
Mansfield.
Huge. Yeah, Mansfield.
Yeah, that was Paula. Was that Paula's show?
Paula Shaw's, yeah. That was a great show. That was.
I only went there once to the Mansfield. 2000.
Really?
Yeah, it was a bit far for me because I was always dieting at the time, and I'm not fucking driving up there whilst I'm dieting.
That was the highlight of my life, my year. That was Leamington and obviously going to Wembley, and then Nottingham. We had the Grand Prix, didn't we? Nottingham, the Royal Concert Hall.
Yes, I should tell you a little funny story about my first ever Grand Prix was 1990. And the other day I had Samir Banut on my podcast last week.
Yeah, I remember saying,
he was competing in that, and I actually told him, reminded him he forgot he competed there, and I said I named out the top 5, and he goes, "Fucking hell, I didn't remember I was doing that show."
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I mean, that was a great show. That was in Nottingham. I love that show. And I remember we'd come out and we'd get our signed photographs. You'd wait for him to come out, and they had the T. Michael top, the crazy wear baggies on, and you'd be looking at his liver around with his bandana on and all the rest of it. And Ben Aziz, I seen him the week before he died because he was on that tour. The European, I mean, that European tour was hard work. They were in a minibus.
I mean, Ben Aziz won the 1990 Grand Prix. Ben Aziz won, and Gary Strider got second.
Well, when did Ben Aziz come second to Dorian then? Was it second or third?
No, Dorian got second to Benaziz in 19...
No, that was at the Knights Champions, but at the
yeah.
Grand Prix, perhaps Dorian wasn't in. I remember Steve.
No, Dorian won the 91 Grand Prix and Night of the Champions.
Okay.
A year after Benaziz won it, and I don't think Benaziz didn't beat Dorian again after that.
Okay.
Benaziz beat Dorian that once.
That's right. I know he comes second or third when the last time I seen him alive there, and I remember I wanted it. He was my hero because I'm short. He was short.
Yeah, Benaziz died 92, wasn't he? After the
it was 92. I see it.
Olympic. Yeah.
No, because he went to. He was on the. I mean, people are going to probably tell us different on the comments. But I thought I know he did the British Grand Prix. He went to Holland.
It was the tour. It was after the tour. It was on that tour he died.
Yeah, because Portugal tried to save him, didn't he?
Yeah, because I was listening to a podcast with Wayne D'Amelia, and when he spoke about it, and when he passed away. Yeah, I remember reading an article in Flex magazine, and for that whole week, I don't know how much information they got, but he didn't drink any water for the whole week. All he was eating was apples, pure.
Exactly, he was purifying
apples, purifying
and obviously taking
diuretics.
Lasix and all the rest of this shit, whatever they was doing. But really, I mean, this is another subject. I mean, I know we're slightly digressing. He's supposed to be interviewing me, but there's athletes dropping down. I mean, poor old Cedric. I wouldn't say he was a dear friend of mine, but we spoke more than most. And he did a fabulous seminar down at mine. And Sean Roden and all the rest of it. In our era, I mean, there's not many sort of guys disappearing only from old age. You got the odd one or two. So what do you think's changed? I mean, because I'm slightly out of touch with that side of it now. What do you think's changed compared to our day? There was Dorian, there was some big dudes. I know Sam Batty's gone. There was some big dudes.
Do you think nowadays people are on cycle a lot longer? They're not having breaks. Obviously, social media, they're having to be in shape all year round, so to speak. They're having to be more accessible all the time, so they're having to do stories of them training. They've got sponsorships, they're doing YouTube, so they're gonna have to. I mean, I'll give you an instance. A few weeks ago, there was a picture of Big Ramy. He sort of downsized, so obviously he's off cycle, and he got slated for it. To go, oh, look how much size Ramy's lost. So you can't really win. So
yeah, but you can win, Simon, because if that was Dorian would say, well, get fucked. Even Dorian used to wear tracksuits and things to make himself look smaller. You haven't got to comply. The shadow back then.
He probably couldn't get away.
Yeah, but you haven't got to comply, Simon. You haven't got to do. You haven't. I blame a lot of it on the athletes just saying no. But do you think this is probably going to cause a lot of? It was all about the training back in the day, whether it was Dorian Yates, I don't know, Frank Richards, fucking all these guys, Tom. I remember Tom Platz. We went on this seminar. We took him Dorian up to I don't know, Latham's gym in up north somewhere. Anyway, so we took him up there. Yeah, Ken Latham's gym, and he brought the house down. I had his little tape, Ride Like the Wind, Christopher Cross. And I was like, fucking shit. Please don't press record, just press play. I had my finger there, and he nodded to me. But I pressed play, and I thought, fuck, what's happening? All of a sudden, you went. Thank fuck, here he comes. Then he stuck his leg out the between the curtain and hats in the air. Everybody went
84 Olympia, didn't he?
Yeah, Ride Like the Wind, Christopher Cross. Yeah. So anyway, so we came back to ours, Muscle Machine. It was like 1, 2, 3 in the morning. He signed every pro style bodybuilding book you can imagine.
I remember that. Yeah, that's a picture of him doing the side tricep.
That's right. Sitting down, kneeling down. So he signed every. I have somewhere. I have, unless it's in an old girlfriend's or wife's house, and they fucking wouldn't let me have it back. But anyway, so he'd sign everything, and straight away I thought how professional he was, and he had everything organised: his t-shirts, Life's a Beach t-shirts, everything. So, but more importantly, he said to Ron, he said, I need to train. I said, it's fucking 1 a.m. He said, I'm just going to do some squats. He said, I'll be 10 minutes. And then he goes, I'll get can Dino come in and spot me? I was like, oh, fucking hell.
Really?
I couldn't believe it. So I said, well, I'll do it with you, Tom. And then what we had to do, I thought,
this is at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes. He said 10 minutes. But what I didn't realise, you had to take the rack the bar off, because I thought, when's he going to stop? We had to time it we had a stopwatch, 10 minutes, so you couldn't stop so you had to go up and down for 10 minutes non-stop. You could stop at the top, but you couldn't rack it. And then you had to.
Was there any warm-up, or was it straight in?
Oh, straight in, mate. I think, and it was so embarrassing. He had to say 3 a side or 4 a side and whatever he did. And he did it for 10 minutes. He was screaming, he was shouting. And when he got off the bar, I remember him going like this, overacting and all that. It was all part of it. But he did work fucking hard. And then I got on there. And
obviously there was no cameras there, no Instagram Live. So he just did it.
No, I think Peter McGuff may have been milling around. I don't know. So anyway, I can't remember. There was a couple of, not poor old Jeff Collins. I can't remember who it was. So anyway, he did his set, and then he goes, "Go on in, man, go on, bro," or something like that. But it smelled like California. He felt like fucking California. Oh, he was tanned his hair. And I remember me having to go in the next day or the 2 days after to get some blonde stuff, this special Born Blonde, and do the roots in his hair and all this bollocks. But anyway, so it was my turn. So I put a 20 aside on. I thought, oh, fucked here. So I had to get down to a 15. I said, oh, let me put a 15 on. I need 15 aside. But I did it for 10 minutes. And then he hugged me and all the rest of it. And I remember seeing the sweat on my thing. I was like, oh, my God, it's Tom Platz's sweat. I took it off and he just kept it because it's Tom Platz. So I said, yeah, Tom. I said, come on, let's go. We've got to go into the motorhome. We had a little motorhome at the back of Caravan. Me, Ron and Tanya at the back of Muscle Machine. So I said, yeah, we'll come in now. And I said, do you want to go to the Albany in your room? Or do you want to come watch the American football? Because Ron Davis, my old boss, he wants to be American. He just wants to be American. Anyway, so we had the American football on a VHS for Tom. And he goes, no, I'm going to do delts. I said, what do you mean? I said, you're going to train shoulders? I said, well, listen, I said, can we just turn one row of lights off? And I said, I'll leave the row over the rack and all the rest of it, and it'll light the rest of the gym up. And I said, then I'll go back in the Caravan, and then you can come round after. Sure enough. So anyway, as I lock the door, says, Tom, all you got to do is pull the door to. I said, I've got the key. So anyway, so as I come round, the first part of the windows into the gym were frosted, and then you could see the clear glass. So I covered that, had a look in, and there was Tom Platz, my hero of heroes, going up and down the rack, Simon, doing laterals like this. And I thought, fucking hell, till it was just that baby weights, then back up again and back down.
Like
then I watched him doing something else, and he was on his own. There was no way he could have known I was watching. And he was there, and he was going at it. And I thought, fuck. The next morning at breakfast, he came back to ours, watching American football. I was too embarrassed to talk to him then. Then I walked him back to the Albany. And as I'm walking back to the Albany, which was just 200 yards away, down the road in Her Street, I says, Tom, why are you doing that? He goes, Dino, I'm 264 days out for the Mr. Olympia. I was like, fuck, that's the difference. No social media, no cameras, that mental strength. If I was competing now, if I was in the backstage, obviously I've had a decent physique, I'd beat half of them backstage. I'd be telling them, you look shit, mate. Shouldn't even be here. They'd be fucking crying. You just said that about me. You just said that about they would have no fucking clue. But it was mental strength back in our day.
I just don't think you couldn't train like that now because there'd be too many people filming you and think fucking weird if you're training that hard. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, in our gym, I've got to be honest, we don't get many of the tripods. We don't get many of this. I don't really like it. If you want to hold your phone and film it live, that's fine, mate. Crack on. But setting up tripods and lights and everything else, if somebody wants to hire my gym on a Saturday and Sunday afternoon, crack on. But it's not all about you, and there's people training, and we have got that work ethic in our gym, Simon. It's just a bit like yours. We have people do train hard, and if one thing I am going to do before I die is, I'm never going to sell myself short. I'm a fat fucker at the moment. I needed to lose 2 stone. I did. I've never recovered from lockdown. I fucking had myself stupid. Smoked tons of weed. Fucking stupid. Trying to forget it all. Anyway, so I thought I've got to lose some weight. So just like the old days, I thought, well, I'll tell you what, I haven't bought tin of tuna. I bet in 5-10 years. I bet I haven't, because I hated it. I used to blend it. I fucking hated it. Anyway, so I bought the tuna. I thought, this ain't so bad. I got my jacket potatoes out. And sure enough, Simon, just like the old days, eat your tuna, your jacket potatoes, eat your fucking your
I still do it now, tuna and jacket potato.
Yeah. And Simon, and your salad, and I would just make sure my plate is mainly salad. There's my protein, a little bit of carbs, enough to fuel the workout. And I've lost a stone. I've got another stone to go. But it's not rocket science. It ain't rocket science. It's just desire. Have you got the desire? And you don't need a fucking team. You don't need a team. And there's too many. And what about these coaches now? Are being coached? You can't be a coach if you've got a fucking coach. You can't. I mean, if I've done it, I've walked the walk. I didn't reach your levels of bodybuilding because I wasn't fucking good enough. I wasn't good enough. I can look you in the eye. I wasn't good enough. So the next stage for me to live my dream as I want to dream was to own a gym. I wasn't good enough to be a professional bodybuilder. I could have took a rate more steroids, but I just wouldn't have made it. And it meant more to me for my kids and everything else to think, I tell you what, here's your posing briefs. I've got to do something else here. And that's why I ran the gym. I knew I was never going to make it as a bodybuilder. I knew, even in the local shows, I had the Moses, but remember Paul Moses and Pete Moses?
Yes, I remember them.
Yeah, I was standing next to them and I thought, fuck me, I'm bollocks there. I've got a pair of arms. I've got a great side chest. My legs are shit. My fucking hips are wider than my fucking clavicles. So that was the end of the fucking thing. But I just prided myself on writing my routines down, seeing what worked and trying things out, giving things time. So I remember like when creatine come out by Musashi and the Japanese company.
Musashi, yeah, they were Australian, weren't they?
Australian, sorry, yeah.
Yes,
See, there you go. So
it's
when
1997.
97. So I remember that coming out and trying that for a good few weeks. I thought, oh yeah, it is. I feel great. I do feel great.
Stuff, that was,
It was good stuff. So we give things a chance, whether it was our routine, and we give it 100%. So wherever we did, we give it 200%. And if it didn't work, we write it down and we knew. And we go into. And the last thing I wanted to do.
Remember when metrics came out in 95, 95, 96?
Yeah, 95. But like the UK always was, it soon got counterfeited. Just like the fucking Ultramarines and everything else. It did, and that's the UK for you. But now I think bodybuilding will come back full circle. That's what it'll happen. Because, there's kids at the moment because the Instagram brigade, they'll pay 200 or 300 quid, like you're saying, to do a show, just get the pictures and then pay for their pictures, pay for the town, pay for the fucking whole fucking lot. I was going to get involved with a certain company you mentioned earlier, but when I went to the press conference, I said, I will help you if the days of not being tanned by fucking so-and-so, not wearing a bikini by bollocks bikinis, by so-and-so, and you haven't got to do it. Yes, Dino, that's what we're going to do. Load of bollocks. Load of bollocks. Whether the the UK BFF was better, I don't know, because I wasn't really involved with it. But one thing I do know now,
I went to UKBFF show. I went to UKBFF show 3 weeks ago, Dino, and I've not been for a while, and it's a sad state of affairs, but it's dead. There was, Sugar Christopher Dennis, or he's
Dennis,
running the federation now. And they had it in a little shitty hall called Bilston Town Hall, and there was probably less than 12, 13 people in the audience.
Honest to God,
there was the same amount of competitors. Probably 12, 13 competitors. It was absolutely dead, and it's a shame because there's more judges than competitors there, and they're having their finals there in October at the same place. And obviously, it used to be at the Royal Concert Theatre in Nottingham.
That's right,
packed out every year, like 2,000-3,000 people, sold out. But now it's in some tiny little town hall no one knows about. It's died, and they haven't moved with the times. The social media, the classes, and etc.
I still think there's still room for a federation. Okay, the pro cards are probably sewn up by this, that, and the other, but I think the essence of just winning a trophy. I remember one show, I can't remember where it was, local somewhere, I don't know, by me, and I remember the actual trophy. It was like the Mr. America ones. It was a base, there was a middle, there was a top, and it went up, and it was taller than me. And we all wanted to win that. It wasn't about being a professional or anything like that. It was just winning the trophy in front of you and winning the competition in front of you. It wasn't about being professional. And unfortunately, now most of these pros now, if they do get a pro card and actually stand up against the pro, like fucking ramming everything, they're going to get fucking stuffed. They are going to get stuffed.
I've seen a lot of.
So the standard's been brought lower. Do you think the standard's been brought lower?
I've seen a lot of bodybuilders who have got the pro card over the last 10 years, and only a very small handful have made it to that Olympia stage and will make any decent, make a name for themselves. But other than that, they've sort of disappeared. Once they've hit that pro scene, that's their career dead. They do a couple of pro shows, don't make the top 15, top 10, that's it. What do they do?
But there was a guy who went to a show the other week, and by the federation you mentioned earlier, and they went in the daytime, and then there was one competition, let's call it, I don't know, fucking Mr. So-and-so, and then they had to all go out, and on the evening they ran another show, then they had to pay again. Said we had to pay again. I said, no, you never. I said, why didn't you tell the bloke to get fucked? He goes, what do you mean? I said, tell him to fuck off. Well, yeah, but I said, no, just tell them to fuck off. He goes, and we had to tag in a certain supplement company and everything we posted. I said, you didn't have to, mate. Tell them to get fucked. And if enough of you tell them to get fucked, they've got to change because no one's going to go. But the kids are just, they're different now. Yeah, scared to rock the boat because that control. I mean, there's always been that in bodybuilding. There's always been that in bodybuilding. There has, you know, the Weeders had the favourites. You know, Arnold won more shows than he should have. You know, perhaps Dorian shouldn't have won one or two, maybe that he should have won, blah blah blah. But you know, it's always been a bit of controversy, which is the nature of the sport, and that's nice. You know, I've always liked that. You know, I mean, I've been to too many shows where I remember Mick Theo ripping the fucking curtains down at the British finals one time because JD the one who, JD the one who. That's when he fucked the trophy into the crowd. And everybody jumped out the crowd. It was all part of the drama. And we spoke about it on the Monday at the gym. Oh my God, we exaggerated. It was unbelievable. Oh, there was people climbing over us. It was fucking mayhem. We had to get out of London quick. It was fucking carnage. And all this, and it was great. There's always been drama with bodybuilding, but not at the bodybuilding.
Do you remember when Paula Berkhamshaw got shafted at the Arnold Classic?
Yeah.
I think it was the same in '92, and she walked off the stage and started doing that to the judges.
Yeah, well, same as Lee Priest, you know, Lee's the same, you know, and I like people who say it as it is, and I think that's just been lost now. That magic's been lost, and I just think not all the bodybuilders, but so many of the bodybuilders just look the same to me, and I've just fell out of love with it. I have fell out of love with it. It'll all come back. I mean, I was going to do a Mr. Dino's Gym.
It's just a change, isn't it? It's
but life changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it would be boring if it still was the same. Things have to evolve, whether it's for better or worse. Things have, and one thing
they do have to evolve, Simon. But why on earth, if you're a heavyweight bodybuilder, is everyone fucked off by the time you've come on? We used to wait. We couldn't wait, and we couldn't wait for the guest star. You know, I don't know. I just don't know why it hasn't, why it's changed. But, you know, I still love the training. It was always about the training for me anyway.
Of course.
It was always, I love the training. I love going in the gym of a morning and then, you know, I'll get there at 9 o'clock. It's open at 6:30 and fucking half a day, you know, and all the banter. I just love all that. I like nipping up to your place and looking what machines you've got and having a bit of a workout and trying different angles. I like all that side of it. It's always been about the training for me. And even now, I want to be, when I'm 65, I want to be you know, looking good at 65. I don't want to be fucking at B&Q with a pot belly and fucking doing DMY and all this bollocks. That ain't me. I just, you know, and I think mixing with youngsters as well, Simon, doing what we do. You know, sometimes I'll put someone in the car. My daughter's like, how the fuck do you know so-and-so by so-and-so? So-and-so at the gym. You know, it's what we do. And for us, it's always about the training. And I just hope that side of it comes back. I see more of that at Dino's, and I'm sure you see more of that at Ultimate Fitness. But you know,
that's why it's important that we carry on that ethic and we show the young generation. It's all about the training. Obviously, you have social media as a platform, but don't forget the training is what builds the physique, and that's where you build your foundation from. And you got to put that hard work in.
Well, I think that's why now some people take more gear and less training. You know, you see some of the athletes now, we're not going to name names, but they're just pumping up. You know, Dorian trained like it was his last day on earth all the time. I know it's much to his detriment towards the end. But most athletes, you know, Lee Priest, all those athletes, they train fucking hard. And that's why you beat most of the Yanks. Sorry, you Americans, but you're there with your fucking diners and your
they probably took lost probably half the gear that you take now.
Yes. Yeah. But
I mean, I've seen some cycles which men's physique guys are taking now, and it's been like I've seen super heavyweight bodybuilders taking less than what a new men's first time men's physique guys are taking, and they don't know if that's a big cycle or not. They just think, well, this is what my coach is telling me to get, and I think you fucking joke. Is that for like a week or a month? No, that's a week's supply. That's a week's cycle. And
women, Simon, and women as well. But why would you trust someone you don't know who's got no moral compass value to you? Doesn't matter. Who's got no accountability? That's madness. Just do your homework. Buy the bloody anabolic reference guide. Have a look through. Try some bits and pieces. And less is more. It's always about the training. Anybody can fucking take a shot, but doing 3 or 4 plates on a fucking squat for 20 reps is a fucking different matter.
What do you think to guys like nowadays which don't come off? They just cruise on 500 milligram test a week. What do you think of that?
What do I think of that? They won't think about that until they're 60 odd like me.
If they make it to 60.
If they make it to 60, you know, I remember going to the doctors once, and you know, there's this, you know, it means something what you've just said. I went to the doctor and I said, listen, doc, this is what I'm doing. I've got this show, blah, de blah, blah, de blah, and this is what I'm doing. He goes, listen, Dino, do what you got to do. He goes, you check my bloods and all the rest of it. And I did have my bloods done. He said, when there's an alcoholic, he's staggering around. I says, yeah. He said, when someone's obese, he's fat, and you can say, right, okay, you're getting overweight, I can help you. You're an alcoholic, you're staggering around. You look $1 million, but you're probably dying inside. I was like, fuck. You know what I mean? And he's right.
Did that resonate on you, that what he said?
Massively. Yeah. And I thought, you know, this plastic trophy, I've got some beautiful trophies at the top there, fabulous trophies. But yeah, I wasn't prepared to do it. And when I won the over 50s qualifier, I was 55, 56, and I went to the British. And we should have been on in the morning, 10 o'clock or something like, because we're the old buggers. But eventually, it all fucked up. Like, and they had us on at like just before they was locking the doors, and we were gone. And I'd flooded out. I looked shit. But anyway, I remember being backstage, and there was guys taking insulin and other bits backstage. I thought, what the fuck's this? But more importantly, just doing it and then just throwing them on the floor. I thought, I don't want to be involved with this shit. They sent me. They sent fucking me. They sent me. So that's, yeah, I'd had enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a price to pay, Simon. There is a price to pay, but that's up to them. They're grown adults. But
we've been there, we've seen it, we've bought the t-shirt and we come out on the other side wiser, hopefully.
Yes, you know, but at the end of the day, it's a sport we love. We'll always love it, and we'll never stop training. And that's what it's always about. It's about the training. Those old boys, when I pull up at the gym tomorrow morning, and they're out there stretching with their old 1940s, 50s Adidas bags with all the original knee wraps and everything else from when they started. You know, that's what it's all about to me. I want to be doing it when I'm 75 and 80 like them. I want to be doing it. And I think if I'd have carried on competing, I wouldn't have done it because I might have got caught up with it. I wouldn't have done, and I might have ended up like one of those.
It's a rabbit hole that once you're in it, it's hard to get out, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah. Well, anyway, Dino, it's getting late now, and you did say you were going to have an hour, and we've gone an hour and 15 minutes.
Right. Okay. Well, just before we fucking go, Mr. Bleeding Rotical,
you're going to test me now, aren't you?
I am going to test you, only with a few little. What's it? The second one you're going to piss in. Who's that on the front cover there? An old middleweight, I think it was, or light middleweight. His initials are, M.A. I'll give you his first name, then Martin. Oh, please be him. Martin Alamengo. Don't you remember him?
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do.
You got me.
You do, yeah. Let's see who else we got. Oh, wasn't he one of our? What do you think of him? He was one of our greats.
I was talking about him the other day to Samir. I seen him in seminar 19 at Liberty.
He came to Muscle Machine. Yeah, go on.
89, I think, 88 or 89.
Yeah.
And Dorian was in the audience. He was sitting behind me. He'd just won the British, so it was 88 actually. And somebody shouted out to Bertil, "What do you think to this new guy, Dorian Yates?" And he goes, "Dorian who?" He goes, "I've never heard of him." It's quite funny.
No. I just quickly, I've got some pictures and everything else. I trained chess with him once. I trained a few body parts, but I trained chess with him. So anyway, and he was a moody bastard. If he didn't get his bits and pieces,
Brutal Fox.
He was fucking Brutal Fox 1 and 2. I could tell you about the videos I used to get off his mum when we used to sell at Muscle Machine.
We'll get you on another day, but yeah, we could.
Just quickly. So anyway, I'm training with him anyway, and he goes, "Tip me."
Was this at Muscle Machine?
Muscle Machine. He goes, "Tip me, Dino." So obviously tipping me to me and you means totally different, but that meant spot him, and I didn't know what he meant, and he fucking dropped the 150s or whatever it was, and he went fucking mad at me and chest bumped me. I nearly fucking cried. But anyway, just finally, who's that then? Who's that man bodybuilder there with that lady? Vegetarian. Come on.
Give me what's his initials? What's his initials?
Oh no! I never thought I'd see the day. I'd never thought I'd see the day when I beats. His name, his initials is AC. Go on,
you got me.
Andreas Carling.
Oh yes, like the lager.
Andreas
Carling, yes. I didn't know he was vegan.
Carling. Yeah, he was vegan. Yeah, look at this old one of Tom Platz here. Look at that, fucking great. Anyway, listen, we're going to get out of here, aren't we? Otherwise, I'll be fucking talking all bastard night.
Okay, Dino.
He was great. He came to Muscle Machine. He was great.
Mohammed Makawi, yeah.
Oh, great. show me and my mate Gus how to pose in the change rooms. Absolutely great. Oh yeah, I ain't seen him for ages. He was great, was he? I used to buy all this shit. I did all this liquid liver and all this fucking bollocks.
Remember Davina back in the day? Davina.
Yeah, of course. I
Tropicana,
remember. See if we've got one more before we go. One more. See if I can beat him. One more. Here we go. Let's have a quick look in the mag.
I'm doing shit tonight.
Huh?
You're
losing 2-0. You're losing 2-0. Yeah, what have we got here? See,
give me an easy one.
These. Huh?
Give me an easy
one. Hold on, here we got it. Yeah, I'll tell you what. We'll give this a guy a shout out. I think he was so underrated. We know who he is. You know who he is. But I think this guy was so underrated. And you never heard him on a podcast. You never heard him on much on social media. You don't hear people talk about him. And I think he was really underrated. I've seen him at the Portland Club in Birmingham in a pair of jeans. He looked mint.
Lee Haney.
Yeah.
Lee Haney?
Yeah, Lee Haney. I mean, what did you think of? Do you think he was underrated? Do you think he was as good?
At the time, no one talks about him now, really, do they? They don't really.
No, not at all.
No, it's a shame because he was, back in the day, he was like 8-time Mr. Olympia.
He was, mate. He was one of the greatest. And I've got to be honest, a physique to aspire to, unlike some of the ones today. Yeah, look at that cover. Class. I used to run home from school to watch that. The Incredible Hulk. My shirt never burst, never anyway, so fuck knows what happened to me. Anyway, Simon.
All right, Dino. Yes, thank you for coming on the podcast. Really enjoyed it.
I don't know who's interviewed fucking anyway.
We've got millions of stories, and we'd love to get you back in here. Maybe we'll get someone else. If you could recommend anyone else we can bring on, we could share some stories.
I mean, I got 2 mics here, so what I'll do, I'll get somebody in the studio here with me, and then you'll set up that thing.
That's the whole beauty of doing it this way remotely. We can get anyone else from a different country, or loads of people. I know loads of people.
Yeah.
We'll do some brainstorming and we'll get someone on.
Well, I'm going to be calling you tomorrow because I've got Ecamm call recorder, but this knocks the bollocks out of it. This is brilliant. This is brilliant. Always one step ahead of us, Mr. Fan. Always one step ahead of us.
Evolving.
I like that in a man.
Okay,
Simon.
Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also I'll put all Dino's links where you can contact him. Obviously, he's got his own podcast, which he will be started again very soon.
Yeah, I'm going to push that on. I am
on his podcast as a guest. But yeah, thanks,
you
Dino.
You certainly will, Mr. Fan.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I love talking about bodybuilding to you. You know your history almost as good as me. But yeah, I'll take care.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks for inviting me on, mate. I've really enjoyed it.